People will not fight beside, behind, or for someone who is fundamentally disloyal. Okay? If disloyalty and deceit is in your nature, then I highly suggest that you combine it with silence. You can be what you are.
No way. Don't even tell me that. Why are you messing with me? There was no audio?
But I would advise you do it quietly, Trump.
Nosy, are you lying to me? Guys, is there audio? It's saying that there's audio. Audio's good? Nosy. Oh, come on. We can't do that again. Guys, please, no pranks. I take this very serious.
Because MAGA is no longer commanded by you, and you know it. You know it. You belong to the Epstein class. That is your legacy now. People will see your name on buildings, whatever was agreed upon in those boardrooms, Jared Kushner, Trump, Gaza, hotel, whatever you tweeted, so crass. They will see that. You will earn that. And then when they see it, they will think about how many children had to die or be raped by men on islands so that you could stick the Trump name upon a building. And for clarity, Mr. President, that's not my fault. That's not Megyn Kelly's fault. That's not Tucker Carlson's fault. You made that trade.
Yo, how did she get away with using the hard R there? You know, that's crazy.
You chose money above respect. And what an absolute shame that you chose to do that toward the end of your life, okay? Because you can't take money and things and stuff with you when you go, just your soul. And you sold yours for what? Another gilded ballroom? Let me be perfectly clear when I say this. Charlie Kirk, he died free. You will most certainly die a slave, okay? You are in chains right now, and the entire world can see that perfectly. At best, what you can hope for in this moment is that maybe one day upon the college campuses that you so deeply cherish, they'll teach all about your now tarnished legacy as the perfect modern day example of Plato's allegory of the cave. You familiar with that one?
And you know what? You guys know, because there are a lot of content creators out there that just kind of like latch onto a bigger creator and just always cover their stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I get it. Like, especially if it's somebody that they really believe in. But like, you guys know that I'm not that guy. Like, I can be very critical of these people. I'm one of the few people that has been critical of Candace in the past, but like, listen, when people are right and, you just gotta just round of applause, Candace and Baron, both of them this week and Danks, like Danks. I don't want to, shout out to my boy, cause he's had a hell of a freaking week and a half too. A lot of people are doing really good work. And like when they do and they go up to the plate and they knock it out of the park, you have to give credit when credit is due. It's just the way that it goes.
The prisoner chained in a cave, multiple prisoners chained in a cave with a fire burning behind them, mistaking shadows on the wall for reality. And when one of those prisoners escapes and makes it outside of the cave and into true daylight and sees, oh, wait, that's not reality, and they return and they try to tell the other prisoners, no, there's truth and there's actual reality outside, they fight that person. They don't believe it. They call that person crazy. That's you. You are chained inside of a cave right now. And who's making those shadows on the wall, right? At best, the annals of history, I think within them, you will be relegated to.
And like, if you pay attention, like she has emotion in her face. Like, I think if there's one thing that I'm good at with my pattern recognition and paying attention with people, it's like, I believe that I could tell when people mean what they say. And that's a big thing for me, because sometimes you can have people that say the right things, but, and we'll get into at least one person that has done that this year in a little bit. But like Candace, like she was on her game today. On her game. I'm glad I pushed my members live back to watch this. And, like just this is amazing.
A philosophical discussion, the madness of President Trump. People will ask, who made Mr. Trump believed the shadows on the wall were real. The professor will chide the class, and in essays, students will cite the example of the man who was once considered a leader of a movement, suddenly reduced to sitting on the side in the Situation Room at the White House while the leader of a foreign country, Benjamin Netanyahu, stands above him, convincing him that Iran represents an imminent threat which can be crippled within weeks. Yeah, the students in that class will be mystified. It will be such a compelling examination. Good discussion. Bibi is your master. Maybe it's Miriam Adelson.
Yo, this is fire. I love doing that. I love doing the AI images. I love doing the AI images. And I've done a couple of my own. Actually, I should have brought mine up because I have a couple. Actually, the ones that I have might get me taken down. Some of you guys might have seen them because some of them circulated around the internet and they may or may not have went viral. They were a little more erotic than this, though. Just saying, just being real. Nope. We're still going. We're going to cover this a little bit more, and then we're going to get to the show. This is like the bread on the table. Hold on. Actually, let me put myself up real quick. I just want to let you guys know, okay? I did a members only live earlier, and I promoted this. I said that tonight was going to be a very, very long night. This little intro, like Candace's home run today, this is like the bread on the table. There's going to be appetizers. There's going to be drinks. I'm out of whiskey, but if I'd have known that, I probably would have got myself a bottle of whiskey for tonight because tonight is going to be fun. And the main course is going to be really good. And I'm glad you guys are here. As you guys know, I normally don't go live on Friday nights. And then I'm like, you know what? A Friday night midnight show? Why the hell not? Why the hell not? But let's just go a little bit longer, and then I'll do my own little opening statement.
And that lights the fire, and Bibi that makes the shadows on the wall. But the entire world recognizes that now. And though I highly doubt that you will be permitted any opportunity to see what the crowd now thinks of you, I have to do my best to try. So here you are. Take a listen.
I don't know who's whispering to this guy's ear like freaking Grima Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings, but they're telling you wrong stuff, bro. Half of the people that I grew up with in this movement are not on Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin's team, okay? We aren't neocons. We aren't warhawks. We want America first. And if you make me choose between America first and MAGA, it's America first all day. That's what MAGA was supposed to be. You were just the best vessel for it, bro.
Yo, I don't even know who this guy is. Another round of applause. Guys, put a 1 in the chat to give this guy a round of applause. And if anyone knows who he is, please give me his name. I'll find him online and give him a follow just for this, because that is 100% true. Trump, for 10 years, we listened to how he was going to drain the swamp. He was the outsider. He was going to turn everything upside down. He had the secrets. He had the insider knowledge. And now, instead of using that insider knowledge to benefit the people, he's completely bent us over the table, and he's given that insider knowledge, or he may or may not allegedly be giving that insider knowledge to his children so that they can make a killing off of his administration. But we're not even going to get into that tonight. This is just me getting prime and ready for tonight, because I said earlier today in my members live that I kind of felt, I don't want to say that I owe it to Candace and Baron, but there was a little period of time where I was going through my own little thing, and I was very, very abrasive towards everybody. People in my personal life, people in my family, friends, church, everybody. When those files came out, I was a nightmare. But again, I'm going to get into all that very shortly. Let's keep going.
Bro, don't get it twisted.
But as bad as he is, as corrupt as he's gotten, the insider trading, all of it, I'm really glad he's differentiating and saying, you're not with me, because I'm not with you. I don't want to be at your cool, corrupt kid, Howard Lutnick, Jeffrey Epstein class table. Thank you so much for delineating that I'm not with you, a sinking, burning ship. He wasn't loyal to his original mission. He wasn't loyal to America, and he became a creature of Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. And all of his Never Trumper enemies are now the courtiers with the madness of King Lear, telling him the lies and worshiping him the way he wants to hear it. And I am not one of those people.
This proves one of many things. The first thing, he shouldn't be in office anymore. Implement the 25th.
You know, now that I think about it, if there is anybody I do owe an apology to, it might be Alex Jones. But that's another story too.
He's not loyal to this country, and he's not loyal to anybody. Well, except for that little country in the Middle East. It's almost like he does what he's told. And the last president to tell that little country no was JFK, and we all know what happened to him. It's like Donald Trump. How can you call them losers when you lose to Bibi Netanyahu in Israel every single day? When's the last time you told them no to anything?
He said Brigitte Macron is far more beautiful than Candace Owens.
All I can say is he's a bit blind.
That's all across the internet. Take your pick, left and right. People understand that message was really your basket of deplorables moment. I mean, even on Truth Social, your very own platform, they've turned on you. Let's go through just some of these responses, okay? What? You are way out of line. Most of these people, especially Alex Jones, have been your day ones. That's correct. Just
Not only were these people some of Trump's day ones, but Trump doesn't win the election without them. They all had his back, especially Tucker. And you know who else? Especially Charlie. Trump does not win the election without Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones, and Tucker Carlson. He might win it with two of the three. But with one of the three, I don't think he wins. Especially you take Charlie out of that equation. I don't think so. You know, they say that, oh, he swept all the swing states and everything. It's like, yeah, but, you know, there were certain demographics that stepped up for him. And one was the youth vote. Another one was the Arab vote. I don't know if he would have gotten the Arab vote had they known what was going on today in Iran. I don't think he would have gotten all the conservative vote. He wouldn't have gotten the independent vote. If anybody knew what Trump was doing right now, at any point in the last 10 years, if they knew that this was going to be what ended up happening, they probably, like Hillary would have won in 2016. And I can tell you that because the whole reason I started getting into politics at all was because of conspiracy theories that I knew about the Clintons. And everything that Trump is doing now is stuff that I was afraid that Hillary Clinton was going to do back in 2016. And now it's just like ramped up.
to remind you, Trump, when no one would have you on, when no media company would have you on, Alex Jones had you on his show. This person continues, you need to take a step back and take a good hard look at who is whispering in your ear and get back to America first. Next person, Trump, you are just going against everyone that fought for him to win just because of the Epstein files and being at war with Iran for Israel. They didn't leave MAGA, MAGA left them. Clearly you are insane. Time to resign, Donald, or face the 25th. You are mentally and emotionally unfit to be POTUS. You are so childish. Clearly, the truth has triggered you, being one of your biggest supporters. I am done with you and your lies. Look at the mess that you have gotten our country into by bending the knee to a monster. I could go on, but I have to say that when I was looking online, in my view, what was the most brutal and sadly a recurring response all across social media was this. Take a look at this tweet about Charlie. People were saying that Charlie would be on this list if they hadn't killed him. Like I said, many people said that.
That's the mic drop moment. That's the mic drop moment. That if Charlie Kirk was here today, that Trump would be calling him a low IQ individual for turning his back on him too. Either that, or he would be an absolute martyr for Trump, going to campus, getting ripped apart in every debate, knowingly, because he would just be falling on the sword for him. It would be one or the other, though. It would be one or the other. And that's something I don't think enough people are saying right now. What do you guys think, chat? If Charlie Kirk was here today, would he have been a part of that message with Candace and Tucker and Alex Jones? I think there's a fair argument there. And you know what? You know, I see we got a couple more viewers than we normally do on my lives. Thank God, finally starting to grow a little bit. We're over 100 early. I'm happy about that. So for those of you who do not know, normally I'm the one doing the roasting. I talk a lot of shit. I'm not going to lie. I talk shit about people I probably shouldn't be talking shit about, you know, and I own it. It is what it is. But today is going to be different. Today is going to be different. And let me tell you why. It's because of what Baron Coleman said. Shout out to Baron Coleman. But Baron said this the other day. Hold on. Yo, forgive me with StreamYard. I actually wrote down the list. For those of you who don't know how this works, I'm like writing stuff down so I know exactly where I have to click. But you guys are about to explain what tonight's going to be. You guys are about to understand what tonight's going to be about in a second.
I think the connection to Caleb Robinson, the Wilkes brothers, the Daily Wire, and now ADF, now the Alliance Defending Freedom, I think is this guy. I think this is where they came. They had board turnover. They're doubling in size.
Guys, just so you know, don't worry about the guy. All right, we're not focused on the guy. Whatever he's talking about, you guys can watch the whole episode. It's episode 95. It's what he's about to say that's pertinent to tonight's episode.
Either being taken to the next level. And here's my ringer. I'm being told behind the scenes, this is the group who is going to sue Candace Owens, or at least finance the lawsuit of Candace Owens. I know she's aware of it. We've talked about it. This is the group, I believe, who will sue Candace Owens.
And let me just tell you guys now, have no fear. Have no fear. Because at the end of this episode, at the end of this live stream, all we're going to have to do is email Baron the transcript, and there's going to be a weaker case against Candace Owens than there is against Tyler Robinson. I can assure you. Defamation, like whatever they're trying to pull up. We're going to go through it. We'll go through some ChatGPT and look at the laws. And actually, you know what? Let's just move things right along. Let's pull one up right now. This is the big one. Actually, hold on. Let's listen to Baron. Just for a couple more seconds. This guy's always got something smart to say. Can never go wrong. Oh, he's not.
And to that, I say shame on them. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing she's ever said has anything to do with the Alliance Defending Freedom. And if they're just doing it for money, when you exchange your services for money, you're just a prostitute for the cause. That's all you are. And any organization that exists.
Hold on. I got lost for a second. Is he still talking about the organization, or is he talking about Erica? Or is he talking about Melania? Or is he talking about Trump? I just don't know.
And claims over and over we're a Christian organization and goes out there suing Christians, and that's in exchange for money, not because you have a cause of action against her or you're supporting the lawsuit. Christian legal advocacy group, expand Christian practices. If this is who you are, stick to this stuff, the Christian stuff. Stick to this stuff. Nowhere in here does it say, sue people who attack our friends who live near us in Scottsdale. Nowhere does it say that. Nowhere does it say that your job is to go out there and fulfill the, pardon the expression, the wet dreams of Ben Shapiro to try to destroy Candace Owens. Nowhere does it say that.
Yo, it's so crazy. You know, I really should be watching Baron more because he's so effective with his words. Like me, when I want to go off on someone and call someone out, I'm like scumbag this, asshole that, very foul mouth. You know, I lose some of the concurrent viewers because they get a little upset with my language from time to time. You know, but Baron, all he's got to do is pull out a receipt, point out that finger, and be like, shame on you. Doesn't matter who he's talking to. He could be talking to Trump himself, and he'll shame on you. Like he's a freaking 3-year-old boy who just did something he wasn't supposed to do. This guy's such a gentleman. Maybe one day when I grow up, I'll be mature and I'll be as, you know, show the level of discernment that Baron Coleman does. I'm not there yet. And Baron knows. Baron knows.
That's not in your mission statement. It's not in your vision. It's not who you're supposed to be. And it's just shameful that you would use an organization like that and be taken to the next level. And I predict, this is my prediction, as the ADF grows and expands, which they claim they know is coming. If they know it's coming, they've been told it's coming. That's not free. That's not free. They want something in exchange for that. I predict this organization is going to take a hard turn towards our greatest ally. They've not really had anything to do with them ever since. They've been.
Hold on, Baron. On this show, we say our not so greatest ally, or we say Benihana's. It's one or the other. Yo, who's sending these memberships? Yo, thank you for gifting the memberships. I see Scruffmeister. I see Death. Appreciate you guys very much. And for those who don't know, whoever was here on Easter and sent those emails by the deadline, the hoodies are out. I think I got like 2 more that I got to mail out because there was some kind of discrepancies with the address and with the shipping situation, but they're out. I covered the shipping cost. I covered everything. You guys don't got to worry. I told everybody, you know, if you want to give back a little bit, maybe add some members to the community, help get the members only lives, get that community going a little more, but everything is out. It's paid for. I hope you enjoy. You got the Real Bays logo here, the Big Bays' base logo on the back. Oh. And the store will be open soon, and there will be discounts for other members. So don't you guys worry.
Founded. They've been around for decades. One of their board members that's rolling off had been there 33 years. I know, there's that number again. There's that number again. But he'd been there 33 years. 33 years ago, I was 13 years old. I was in middle school. I was in 7th grade at Brentwood Middle School. The Vikings. And I think it's an absolute disgrace what's happening in this country. It's an absolute disgrace.
I do too, Baron. I do too. All right, so now let's talk about it for a minute. Up. Sorry, my mic was off. So now the story goes, according to Baron Coleman, is that Candace Owens is going to be getting sued. We could speculate by who. Yeah, I don't know. They're sending a lot of cease and desist. Is it going to be Erica? Is it going to be Turning Point? Is it going to be somebody else, somebody in the security? But apparently there is going to be big money backing this lawsuit. And my expectation is that they are going to be trying to make this like an Alex Jones level lawsuit where they just want to destroy Candace Owens. That is what I think that they are going to do. I think it is also, though, going to be contingent on the Tyler Robinson case. You see, because if Tyler Robinson does get convicted guilty, whether faulty, shady, whatever, if he gets convicted guilty, then whatever case Candace and Baron have been building, they're still going to have a rough road ahead of them because now you've got a guilty verdict on record, and I don't think it's going to outweigh all the evidence that they've presented, but they're going to be on the defense. Now, if Tyler Robinson gets found not guilty, the probability of a lawsuit, I mean, it's still probably going to happen, but it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be on the same level. I think the playing field is going to be more balanced. If anything, it's going to be much more in Candace's favor, especially if he gets found guilty because of actual evidence and receipts that Candace and Baron presented, which is why I think it's actually very important that Candace Owens and Baron Coleman get involved in this Tyler Robinson case, because I don't want to say that their necks are on the line at this point, but they've said a lot. There are a lot of transcripts. There have been a lot of statements. And like I said, if they could find Tyler Robinson guilty somehow, some way, there might be a headache. At the very least, Candace is probably going to have to spend a lot on lawyers. But if they have like a hung jury or the case gets acquitted or something, like they throw out the case, then it gets messy, because then you don't have definitive answers on the record, whether he's guilty, whether he's innocent. And then, they could try to say that the case only got thrown out because Candace Owens was making all these statements and tampered the jury pool. But I think that that's kind of ridiculous, especially, I mean, I'm not going to play all the clips. I'm not going to get into like the Megyn Kelly and the Steven Crowder, because I mean, it's kind of crazy to me, because on one hand, they're going to try to say that Candace Owens and Baron Coleman and anyone else who's been covering this potentially tampered with the jury pool and that they were manipulating people and whatever. But you have to remember something. In this country, we are innocent until proven guilty. And everybody, Steven Crowder, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, all these assholes, they were all assuming Tyler Robinson's guilt the entire time. I mean, if we could go through the clips. So it goes both ways. It shouldn't be a double standard, because they are tampering with the jury pool as well by assuming the guilt. You had Megyn Kelly go as far to say that he did it. I know, I want him dead. I hope I could be in the room when they do it. It's like these are crazy things to say. She said this back in December. You got to remember, Tyler Robinson is a 22-year-old. All right. But anyway, like I said, tonight, I covered that stuff the other day. I even put out little clips. So if you haven't seen it, you could check it out on my channel, talking about the Megyn Kelly thing. Today, I am not, like I said, I'm not the prosecutor today. I'm not the roaster. I'm not the shit talker. Today, I am going to be the defense attorney. Not for Tyler Robinson. I've already done that one too. I'm going to be the defense attorney for Candace Owens and Baron Coleman. I am going to bring the receipts from the transcripts, because they are going to try to use their words against them in the court of law. And there are a lot of other words that you can't pick and choose. You can't cherry pick. And you have to understand something. In a defamation case with a public figure, they have to prove malice. And we're going to pull up a couple cases for reference where I'm going to explain to you why I don't think Candace and Baron really have much to worry about. But for now, let's go to another one. It's Milkovich versus Lorraine. Hold on. I have a video right here. Just give me 1 second. I will find this for you. And here we go.
Can you be sued for sharing your opinion? What if that opinion is about someone else's reputation? Let's take a look at a U.S. Supreme Court case that shaped how courts view defamation. Milkovich v. Lorraine Journal Co. In 1990, the U.S. Supreme Court heard a case involving high school wrestling coach John Milkovich and a local newspaper, the Lorraine Journal. The Journal had published an article accusing Milkovich of lying during a public hearing about a fight that occurred at a wrestling match. Specifically, the article stated, quote, "Anyone who attended the meet knows in his heart that Milkovich lied at the hearing," unquote. Milkovich then sued the newspaper for defamation. Lower courts considered the context of this statement, the fact that it was written in an opinion column, and the use of vague language, and ultimately ruled that the statements were opinion, meaning they're protected by free speech. However, the case made it all the way to the Supreme Court, where the justices ruled that just because a statement is framed as opinion, the speaker isn't automatically protected from liability for defamation. In other words, if the underlying meaning of an opinion implies false facts, it could be defamatory. For example,
now think about what you just said, though. If they're giving false facts, even as an opinion, it could be defamatory. She's not saying that it is defamatory. Because you have to remember, it is a different set of circumstances when you're dealing with public figures and not public figures. Because when you're talking about a public figure, you have to prove malicious intent. You have to prove malice. It does not fall on the defendant, which would be Candace Owens, to prove that she did not mean to be malicious. It would have to fall on the plaintiff to prove that they were malicious. Now, if Candace and Baron, even if they are wrong about certain details in their investigation, even if some of their receipts bounce, if they can make a case proving that they believed it, and the plaintiffs cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt and prove that they were malicious, then they have no case. They're not going to be found guilty. There's not going to be damages.
Consider the statement, in my opinion, John is a liar. Although this is framed as an opinion, it might imply the speaker has knowledge of something that would lead them to conclude that John is a liar. And if that is proven to be false, the speaker could be liable for defamation. Milkovich v. Lorraine Journal Co. was an important case in clarifying that opinions implying false facts may still be defamatory. Today, courts ruling on defamation cases can consider whether the substance of the statement is objectively verifiable, even if it is framed as an opinion. So next time you're thinking about posting an opinion about someone online, remember, merely saying, in my opinion, doesn't shield you from liability for defamation if the underlying context of your statement is a false statement of fact. Interested?
Now, I thought that, I don't know about you guys, I thought that that was a good watch. You know, nice little short. I thought that that was pretty educational. But let's move on. Now, let's look at some of the more recent examples of quotes that may potentially be used against Candace Owens. I think that that she has said a few things that they might try to say. Hold on. I think this is it. Let's see.
Saw. Now we're like, oh no, the media team, that is what happened. They were allowed to fly drones, but security couldn't. What? You're going to let media fly drones temporarily to get a shot, but you're not going to let the security team fly drones temporarily to get a shot of what they're looking at? Does that make any sense? And by the way, hey, Brian Harpole, how about being resourceful? If you figured out the media team could do it and they could get it to Frank, why didn't they get it to you? Why didn't they get to you what the rooftops looked like? Oh, I know, because you're all lying. That's pretty obvious by now. You're all lying. Please just stop lying.
See, now that could be used against her. If they're trying to make a defamation case, they could say, oh, well, she's calling us liars. But now, if she's talking about Brian Harpole, if they're going to bring up this transcript, then you have to bring up the transcript with Brian Harpole and Sean Ryan. Now, again, I already have a lot of clips. They're going to be focused on Candace and some from Baron and some from Erica. We will get into the Brian Harpole, Sean Ryan clips another time. If you want, I have plenty of those clips on my Instagram page, and I've already done a long deep dive on my YouTube channel. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long. That's why I'm not pulling up any of the clips. So later on, you get bored, I give you guys the link if you want to watch that, but I've already covered that pretty extensively.
About everything. Because eventually what's happening is what we're going through right now. The public is having to decide whether or not you have been making genuine mistakes repeatedly, or if you have been fibbing nonstop at all hours of every day because you're engaged in a cover-up. And I am of the latter opinion. I have been for a while. There are just too many inconsistencies at all time. It's not that difficult to remember the truth. Judge Judy watched it in bed with my grandma. If you're going to be a liar, you better have a good memory. And it turns out none of you guys have a good memory. The person that had the photographic memory is dead. That was Charlie.
Now, before she keeps going, remember, she said, in my opinion, and in that short that we just watched, they made it clear that saying, in my opinion, is not really the defensive shield that some of us might have thought that it was, especially when you're talking about a defamation case where you're attacking somebody.
Kirk, okay? That was your boy wonder, and you've now lost him. Speaking of inconsistencies, for example, last week I told you that in working on this investigation, the theme of sex trafficking, it's coming up too much, child sex trafficking in particular. And so I was interested in Erica having said that while she was quote unquote living in China, she was working with victims of sex trafficking. Okay. I want you to remember what she said. Take a listen.
I decided to create something called Everyday Heroes Like You, where we're able to, originally, it was focused on bringing funds and awareness to various grassroots organizations that were in specific communities that would be able to have volunteers that are transparent with their funds, that are actually doing what they're saying they're doing, instead of just having 70% of the funds go to.
Shit, guys, I'm sorry. I can't listen to that woman's voice for that long. That's like, you know, like, if you want me to keep playing it, I'll play the whole thing through. But gee, I'm not going to use the Lord's name in vain. But anyway, you know, as far if they want to say that, oh, well, Candace is spreading rumors, making allegations about sex trafficking. Well, I mean, if you really want to get technical, people were talking about that on the internet for months before Candace even entertained it. And you know why they were talking about that for months? Because Erica Kirk was connected to people that were connected to people that had charges involving sex trafficking. In fact, Greg Laurie, she brought on stage just a couple months ago. So it's not like these claims, it's not like Candace is just saying these slanderous things that she's pulling it out of her ass and just, you know, like just coming at this, like there are reasons behind everything. There are receipts for everything. And the second they try to press charges on Candace Owens and file a lawsuit, all of a sudden, all this has to go into discovery. All of it has to go into discovery. And wouldn't you guys like to find out if there was anything in the files connecting Erica to J.E. at that hotel in France? I would sure like to know. I wonder if they could get that in discovery. I wonder if they would press those charges against Baron Coleman, saying that he was spreading rumors that she was hanging out with him. And by him, I mean Einstein. Because the second you make that allegation, all of a sudden you give Baron the opportunity to say, hey, I could prove my case. You have sealed documents. I want to see them. So like when they say, like when Baron says that, oh, well, you know, Candace believes she's getting sued and there's big money behind it and they're going to do this, they're going to do that. It's like, yeah, but they're probably going to bite off more than they can chew. And like, I could have made this a 24-hour stream to just chew this up. So maybe we'll talk about this more tomorrow. Maybe I'll go live during the day to bring up more clips. You know, I only want to stay here for a good 2 or 3 hours. Maybe we'll go later. But I could do this all day. Like, people need to understand something. I am like, my pattern recognition is really good. And I was already using AI for research covering Einstein for months before this Charlie Kirk case. And I have been on this and doing my own investigation and following Baron and following Candace and following the opposition, following Erica, following Turning Point. I've been downloading transcripts. I've been running them through AI. I've been analyzing all of this the entire time. I haven't made a lot of content about it, but that's because, you know, I was new. I wasn't trying to piggyback off people. I was trying to go my own route. You know, at different points, I thought that other things were more important. I wanted to cover Einstein. I wanted to raise awareness with the war. At one point, I was covering ICE, which I just completely shot myself in the dick trying to be objective with that one. You know, like, since I only made this channel a couple of months ago, and I am not a grifter. I was not trying to do something that I felt was not necessary for me to do. I just kept collecting my data. You know, but now that we're getting this close and now that this much has come in and we're getting close to trial, I'm ready to open up the books. I'm ready to open up the notes. I'm ready to share everything. I was, you know, shout out to Daisy too, Baron's Daisy. I had a really good conversation with her yesterday. Really good conversation. You know, and, you know, I let it be known. I will open my books. Any help they need, I got them. Let's keep going.
To admin and only 30% towards the cause. It kind of grew into something more global. I was living in China and doing a lot of work with the victims from sex trafficking. and then began to phase that into working with the Marine Corps and the Army, and then was able to work with a orphanage in Romania to help sustain them during their winter seasons, and giving them more clothing items or tangible items rather than just money.
Then I told you guys that having asked this question through an official channel, Turning Point USA, I received a response alleging that Erica never lives there. So that's coming from Erica. She actually never lived there. They said that she simply visited for 2 weeks, like a tourist, just to visit the Great Wall and perhaps see other monuments in history. Then somebody emailed me an interesting video of Charlie Kirk. And apparently he disagrees with that new assessment. This is a video of Charlie.
And, there is a reason when people get arrested that the police say, when they read you your Miranda rights, the Miranda rights that they didn't really read Tyler Robinson when they said they did. But they tell you, anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. And that doesn't just go for after you get arrested. That goes our words have power. They have meaning. There is a reason why the government and YouTube pull the plug on certain streamers when they cover certain content. It's because they're worried about the influence. And it's really ironic too, because it never happens to the shills. It never happens to the people that spread the misinformation. It's always to the people that are telling the truth. It always happens to the content creators that are giving people the factual information that's in their best interest. Like you can lie through your teeth all day long on YouTube as long as you're pushing the narrative. If you're pushing the mainstream media narrative and you're pushing the agenda, you could say whatever the hell you want. But, you start telling the truth. You start trying to be objective. You start trying to demand some accountability for one specific foreign nation, and then all of a sudden you get silenced. And if you go too far, if you get too big, you get too influential, sometimes you get kirked.
Debating someone named Ben Carollo. Take a listen.
When you go to China, let me just tell you, you'll drive down the street and you will see dead people laying in the middle of the street. You will see people defecating.
Go to China then. Go to China. Take a video.
Actually,
Bring
you know
these
what?
Cameras. Go to China. Take a video with these cameras. I dare you right now.
Unlike you, my wife lived in China for 6 months, and she'll show you the videos. She'll show you the images. They don't have a regard for human life. They don't value people as the individual.
What's going on here? Okay, will the real Erica Kirk please stand up? Okay.
All right, now we could start taking notes. That's one lie. Now, there are a lot of lies. Like I say, I'm very good with pattern recognition. I'm very good at sniffing out bullshit and seeing when people mean what they say, when they don't mean what they say. And I got no problem saying on the record that I thought that Erica Kirk was full of shit from the first time that I heard her speak. And that was at the memorial when she did that man, I forgive him. And then 2 months later, she can't find it in her heart to forgive everybody that's calling bullshit on people like Brian Harpole and Andrew Colvett. She was able to forgive Tyler Robinson, despite the fact that Megyn Kelly was saying that she wants him dead. She knows he's guilty. She wants to be in the room that when they do it. Erica, the actual wife, found it in her heart to forgive him. But then people like me, people like you, we get on the internet, we start asking questions. We say, hey, this isn't really adding up. And she can't find it in her heart to forgive us. All of a sudden, we're a bunch of deplorables. Right? Am I getting something wrong here? Am I missing something? Please. You got our wonderful commander-in-chief saying that she hopes that Erica sues everybody and makes all this money. Same way she's hoping that Brigitte Macron, whatever that thing's name is, makes a lot of money suing Candace. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, I think that if Erica Kirk or Turning Point USA or anybody else tries to sue Candace Owens, it is going to be a massive, massive mistake. Massive mistake. And you know what? Now that I think about it, I might be fucking up the plan. They might be baiting them. I think Candace and Baron know this. They're probably like, Baze, I'm going to get the text message right now. Baze, cut the stream. Cut the stream. We want them to do it. We want them to push that button. I should have thought this one through. I should have asked Daisy before I started this live stream. Now that I think about it, fuck. I'm not going to call her right now. Whatever. I'm a very, very small channel anyway. I'm like a micro. Like, this is literally, like, we got like 180 people here right now. This is the second largest live that I've ever done. By myself, of course. When I work with my fellow collaborators, sometimes we get in the thousands. But that's not because of me. It's not because of me. I can assure you. Oh, man, I'm a dick. All right, hold on. What's next? We got so many videos, and there are so many videos I didn't even get to, I swear. I wish I started this stream at 12:30 or that I just started working sooner, because there is just endless material. I have so many transcripts. I swear to God, I could do this all day. Like, we could literally play Russian roulette and just click on whatever random thing and just pull up some receipts. This video, we got a couple.
All right, you guys. Happy Tuesday indeed. I really did have the best day ever yesterday. I mean, foremost, the news broke about the Freemason hit squad in France. Then we wrap up the episode yesterday and the internet explodes because the ATF in the Tyler Robinson case cannot connect the gun to him. Oh, okay. Interesting. What does it all mean? You have a bunch of people racing. Oh, could you imagine the PR cash they are spending right now? Racing to tell you this is a big nothing burger. Who cares if we can't connect the gun to the bullet fragment? Okay. We care. I care, because we were right. And we wanted to make sure that we took the time to actually read through the court filings, and we're going to take you through them. And if I'm being honest, there is something that is buried in these filings that not even...
Yeah, guys, do me a favor, please. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to become a member and support the channel, that would be even better. Believe me, I'm very generous with my members only content. I do a lot of lives, a lot of Q&As. I give free merch. You're going to get a lot of perks that you're not going to get with other channels. I promise. But whatever, I'm not a beggar. That's, I'll let the members that are already in here tell you that.
Even Tyler Robinson's defense team caught. And we did. And in my opinion, it is definitive proof that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. The feds are just...
Hold on. She said definitive proof that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. That one came up on the transcript, that they might want to sue her for that. So she, her and Baron are going to have to come with some pretty strong receipts to make a definitive statement like that. But guys, don't worry, because they got a lot of them. They got a lot of them, I can assure you. And other people have a lot of them. There's just so many receipts. It's insane.
Just putting this on him, and I do mean the FBI. Yep. From JFK to MLK, now to CJK. This is, in my opinion, an undeniable state killing. Welcome back to Candace.
Hold on. I don't want to get hit with nothing there. All right, there's a couple clips in this one. Let's see. Let's get there. I think this is one of them.
Seeing the footage, common sense to me says that he would have grabbed the camera that was like, I don't know, a yardstick away from Charlie's face. Oh, yeah, that camera that we've circled right here, that would have grabbed the action. That would have been the real up-close shot of Charlie bleeding out. So he lied. The camera from behind, making matters worse, once I actually saw the footage, it had no blood. We revealed that on this show, so now you can think through that. He was telling me he was trying to save Erica from seeing her husband die, but yet this was the most mild shot of all. There was not a drop of blood on Charlie's back as he went down. So what exactly was it that Terrell was racing to hide? What they were hiding, and I am going to speculate this boldly now, having read through these files and thought through everything that has happened, they were hiding was the fact that the bullet did not go through, did not pierce through Charlie. I believe that that was supposed to remain a state secret.
See, now that is where Candace screwed up when she said the bullet did not go through. Because I don't even think there was a bullet. I don't think there was a bullet. I think that there are so many other scenarios with a higher probability than that Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck with a rifle. Definitely not a 30-06. I mean, that is near zero. That is near zero. I think it's near zero that Tyler Robinson shot him at all. You know, based on my own research. And I don't even have to try to sugarcoat that with an opinion. I have my own receipts and reasonings. But I don't think that Charlie was shot with a gun.
Secret. The public was never supposed to have that piece of information. I feel pretty certain about that because after being told that the 30-06 was fired from a rifle a mere 150 yards away into the most delicate human neck, the assumption, all of us made the assumption, actually, we never even asked the question. Our assumption was just that it had gone through, of course. And I believe that that is the true reason why they moved to pave over the scene so quickly, because that was supposed to be the narrative. We've got the gun. We're going to say it was 30-06. We're going to say it passed through. We collected the evidence. Now it's paved through. Nobody can look. It's gone.
Well, also, if Charlie was killed and he was killed with the lapel mic or with the necklace or some other type of device, there is a very high probability that there would be some type of residue and actual matter, like some kind of physical evidence on the ground, on that area. And we also know that the construction that they did, the paving that they did, it was not pre-planned. They called that in after the fact, and they called it as a rush job, and they asked for secrecy. You know, they wanted people that weren't going to be advertising the business. Just quick, swift, quiet. And that much we have on the record as well.
But something happened. There was a divine intervention. Terrell showed me the back footage 2 days later on September 19th because I kept pressing him. Why are you being so weird? Why are you acting so strange? Why are you giving me so many excuses? Why are you telling me you're scared to send the footage because Google might hack you? That's bizarre. Why are you telling me you don't know how to send footage? You are an audiovisual company. You should know how to send big files. And so he eventually just said, hey, I'll FaceTime you. I'll just FaceTime you. I'm not going to send you anything, but I'll FaceTime you. And on September 19th, he did that. And gratefully, I moved to record that FaceTime call because his energy made me uncomfortable. And later that day, I informed the public on my show that the bullet didn't go through. I said the oddest thing. It's like there was no blood in the back of Charlie. That's so strange. And this public revelation caused a mass internal panic at Turning Point USA. Do you want to know how I know that it caused panic? Because the very next day on September 20th, Justin Strife was contacting my husband several times, asking him if I had recorded that FaceTime call with Terrell. It came across like an urgent matter. I was sitting in the living room. George came to me. He's like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but like Justin Strife is hitting me up. He's asking me if you recorded, what's he talking about? I said, what? Why does he care? Why?
Yo, seriously. Yo, I just want to say for the record, I don't understand. Like, I guess I kind of understand it. Like all these people like recording phone calls and FaceTime calls and all this crap. But like, that really is some Fed shit. Like that is some snake shit. You know, like I might talk some shit. I might say some offensive things from time to time, but like there's got to be a code. No? Is that just like how the world is? That like everyone's trying to like just get some dirt on each other. Everyone wants to get something on each other, get them on the phone, trying to record it, hold it against them later. Like, yo, that is some bullshit. Like, lucky for me, I am the same person on camera as I am off camera. I have the same beliefs, the same theories, the same opinions on people. So, you know what? Knock yourself out. Record me as much as you want.
Why is this urgent? Why are they following up with you? What's up? And he's like, I don't know. What? And then I explained to him what happened. And I said, honey, don't answer the question. I find the question in and of itself to be weird. Why do they care if I recorded and have the back footage? And guess what? I found out why. I found out. Do you want to know why they were feeling a bit of pressure? Who it was in particular that was placing pressure on Justin Strife and Frank Carney to determine whether or not I had recorded that back footage? The feds were. The FBI. The FBI was on the phone with Justin Strife. Frank Carney And they were apparently speaking to the feds that day about whether or not I had recorded the footage. Now, why do you think this information was so important to the FBI? Why would the feds be concerned about whether or not I had the back footage? I'm recording. I'm screen recording a FaceTime call. They've got it in 4K. They're not protecting Erica. It's everywhere. Unbeknownst to me at that time, this was also the exact day of Charlie's private burial. And yet, this is what they were consumed with. Erica was highly concerned about the back footage as well. So much so that rather than attending exclusively to her husband's private funeral.
Thank you, Jeannie.
The higher priority for Erica on that day was to curate a response to the public regarding why the bullet had not gone through. I want to say that again.
Wait. Hold on. Did she just say, I actually didn't watch this episode. This one, I just ran the transcript through. Did she just say that the alleged private funeral that they had, that Erica did not go? That can't be true. Yo, if that's true, that's just wild. That's just wild. Chad, is that really what she's saying? I'm about to play it, but did you guys see this one? Is that what she's about to say right now? Or what she just said and is about to repeat? That Erica blew off the funeral? I mean, in all fairness, she got enough photos and video footage at the wake. Yes or no? Yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Yo, I'm sorry. I can't. I don't mean to play too many games. I gotta rewind this one. I hope I don't go too far back. Hold on. I gotta.
Attending exclusively to her husband's private funeral. Okay. The higher priority for Erica on that day was to curate a response to the public regarding why the bullet had not gone through. I want to say that again. Okay. Responding to my episode where I simply told the public the truth that there was no bullet that passed through was deemed a higher priority than Erica being fully emotionally present at her husband's funeral. Her and
Yo. Erica Kirk. She may be giving Eyes Wide Shut a new meaning. She may be giving it both meanings. I don't know. Oh my God. Yo, that is crazy. That is crazy.
and Andrew were discussing this. They peeled off to the side and they conferenced the surgeon on the day of Charlie's actual funeral. They conferenced and called Dr. Lee Trotter. This is the single biggest lie that Erica Kirk would later tell me. She would insist to my face.
No. That is not the single biggest lie that Erica Kirk would tell you. The single biggest lie that Erica Kirk would tell you. Actually, no. I regress. Because Erica apparently told you the truth. The single biggest lie that Erica told was to us, was to Glenn Beck. When she said that Charlie Kirk was not texting anybody, that he was afraid for his life before he died, that if he had, she would know because she had his phone. That's another video that I've covered multiple times, which I thought right there, they got to open up an investigation. How can you not? Especially when you find out that the text messages went to Andrew Colvett, who's like literally still sitting in Charlie's chair, if I'm not mistaken, on the Charlie Kirk show and working closely with Erica Kirk, the one that allegedly gave her that hug the day that he died. And Dan Flood, the head of, what was it? Was he head of risk management with security? The one who made the famous stole third base right before the... Those are the two people that Charlie texted. And there was never an investigation. No answer behind that. Instead, what we had was Erica Kirk getting on Fox News saying, leave my family alone. That's my family. It's like, no, bitch. Charlie Kirk was your family. He was your husband. And you and everybody else has a lot of inconsistencies in your story with what happened. And we're just trying to make it make sense. Leave my family alone. Can I have one thing? Yo, Apparently, you got like 250 million things the first couple of months. You know what I mean? Yo, it's insane. It's insane. I would love to testify in this shit. Yo, whether it's the Tyler Rice, please.
And I did not believe her for 1 second, and I politely pushed back that Andrew went rogue that day, that the surgeon went rogue too. The two of them.
You know, I was waiting for one of you guys to say it. We'll get back there. But that one I have ready. That one from now on, I gotta like have a button. I gotta like set it up where I get the buttons. Hold on. Where is it? I know it's here. You cannot hide from me.
Stop. That's it. That's all I have to say. Stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. All right, hold on. We got to get back to where we were. Is this the one? I think this is the one. Yo, sorry if I'm a little slow with this.
Them had a discussion that she did not authorize, discussion that she was not privy to. The surgeon violated HIPAA. Andrew violated her privacy. And after that discussion, Andrew went double rogue and he tweeted about the nature of this discussion that he could not have had with the surgeon without Erica's permission. Erica lied. Erica and Andrew colluded on how to message to the public about this little fact that was never meant to be known to us. Dr. Lee Trotter did not violate HIPAA. In fact, he could sue her for defamation, in my personal opinion. She was the one that was on the phone with Andrew, and they were asking the doctor what they could tell the public, and it was Erica Kirk that said that Charlie ate healthy, and she bet he had a neck like Superman. Pretty obvious if we just pause and think about it. It was pretty girly and emotional. Man of steel, he just eats healthy. That's not how serious trauma surgeons communicate, okay? It's just not.
No, it is not. No, it is not. How crazy is that? Because when they said that whole Man of Steel thing, it sounded like bullshit. It sounded like bullshit. Because they didn't just say that he had a man that his neck was like a Man of Steel. They put those words in the surgeon's mouth and tried to corroborate it or use it as corroboration for the 30-06. And then it's later that you find out that the guy never said that and that they found fragments that he believes were from a bullet. That's right. It was fragments that he believes were from a bullet. I don't think they ever actually confirmed that those fragments were a part of a bullet. You know, any evidence on that? Any receipts? Feel free to let me know. Wait, there's another part of this one too. Hold on. Towards the end. Got a lot of clips, guys. I know you want to watch it all. And this will not be the last episode that I do like this.
Anyone break at some point? How exactly do the turning point heads benefit? Will Andrew get fed up with Erica, making him out to be a liar? Where does this all come to a close? No, because I think he has been willing to play that person. Like, if what we sense is correct, and this is a massive cover-up, and Turning Point is complicit in that cover-up for various reasons, then they're all tied to each other, right? Baron Coleman does a very good job of explaining that. There's like a line you can't cross, and you all have to collude together, and whoever's got to be the bad guy that day, it is whatever. You just got to say, okay, I'll catch the strays today because you go down, I go down. We're tied to each other. Like, it's like we're all handcuffed together here. So it doesn't benefit one of them more than the other. Make him Andrew the dunce and say, oh, he doesn't know what he was doing. I'm interested in why Lee Trotter, like I said, he could have probably had a good defamation case, saying something that's stupid, saying you violated HIPAA. I guess they didn't technically tweet that. She told me that.
You know who doesn't have a good defamation case? Erica Kirk. She does not have a good defamation case. You know, like I think Trump's getting a little too cocky. I think he's getting a little too cocky. I think just because they were able to they were able to pull the shit that they pulled with the files and covering that shit up, and that they were, you know, whatever happened with Charlie that day and the FBI, you know, I'm not going to make any allegations, or I'm saying whatever happened. I'm not even giving my opinion. Don't sue me. But I think they got a little cocky, you know, when he's saying that he hopes that Candace Owens gets sued and that Erica should go around suing everybody, you know, like we don't see the beauty pageant, the music video with the tramp stamp, her sitting there on the reality show, the audition with the reality show where she's being all raunchy with her boyfriend, the baseball player, and then when she actually went on the reality show. And she's drinking and having a good old time. But then at the CBS town hall meeting, it was a different story. Hold on, do I still have that one? I might still have that one. Let me see. Do I? Guys, bear with me. Yo, if I don't, I'm gonna be pissed. Yo, guys, don't worry. We got it. Yo, I could have played mine too. I could have played mine. If you'd have seen the video that I made, actually, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna pull an audible. I'm gonna play my own video. Yo, watch this thing like not be here. Like I gotta like dig for it. I hate when they make me do that. And I think it's kind of weird when I play my own stuff, but this one is good. This one is actually good. Like it's worth it. All right, let's have some fun.
Because I'm holier than whatever. I just don't operate that way. But I always thought it was very strange how she would go to
I want you guys to know I made this myself.
drinks with one guy and then go to dinner with another. So it goes twofold here. So if you're expecting to marry someone that I was blessed with, like a Charlie, you have to be the type of woman that will attract a Charlie. Are you going to church?
Oh, what?
Are you going to?
Oh, did you guys realize that Erica Kirk has a tramp stamp? I didn't realize this right away. I wonder what Charlie thought.
Bible study. Did you tell your pastor that you are ready for the Lord to bring into your life the man that you've been praying for? You yourself need to be prepared for that man, and only you will know how to do that. Does that mean staying out and going out with the girls? I'm not saying you sit on your couch and all of a sudden he's going to knock on your door and be like, honey, let's rendezvous. Like, that's not how it happens. It's not. Granted, my situation was a little different. I wouldn't do it. You went to a job.
Sure it was.
So this is how good the Lord is. He knew that because I was not dating in New York City, he knew that in order for me to know that that was my man, he had to blanket Charlie as a job interview. Because if that went in, no joke, if he came to me and said, hey, let's go on a date to Bill's Burgers, I'd be like, I am so sorry. I thank you, but no, we're not doing this. That was my mindset. I'm not.
Man, I wish that was Erica doing the talking. Like that, I had that timed so perfectly.
And when you know that, look, if I remain in the jet stream of God's will, he will provide for me in ways I cannot even imagine. And that is my prayer for you. My prayer for you is to remain open and to remain prayerful and to let people around you know, old school style, I'm ready and I'm looking to get married and having a family. You can always have your career. Being able to have a...
Yo, I sat here going through, just so you guys know, I sat here going through all of those clips and trying to line up specific clips with like specific parts of like her little rant to like line it all up perfect. And then this one, you know, this part
is a...
Check out Erica with the Bam Bam cut. She actually referred to it as the Bam Bam cut herself too.
Very limited, short window. You can start your career. If you have people and it's amazing business, have other people run it. You can still manage it. You can still pour into it, but you have your babies. And then once your baby...
That's the part. That's what I mean. For those that don't know, this footage is allegedly from the orphanage in Romania. Just so you guys know.
Babies are growing and the nest is empty. Go back to your career. There's nothing wrong with that. If you don't have a career, you have your babies. The Lord's going to inspire something inside of you that you're like, you know what? There's a problem. I have a solution. How many baby companies have been born out of moms? You know, like the little carrier seed or a stroll.
So I don't get in trouble. All right, you guys get the idea. You know, the moral of the story is Erica Kirk is not the most credible witness herself. Like, she's been caught in a lot of bullshit. She's been caught in a lot of bullshit. I don't think that she is ever going to be able to sue anybody for defamation for calling her a liar. I just don't see it. I mean, mind you, we are in America. We are in America. These are the kangaroo courts of America. We've seen worse. You know, the level of corruption here really is insane. But in an honest system with integrity, with a real judicial system, you are never going to see Erica Kirk be able to sue anybody for defamation for labeling her a fucking liar, because that's exactly what she is. All right, hold on. Now we're gonna move on to everybody's favorite. I told you we're gonna be covering a lot tonight. We're gonna be covering a lot. And listen, like I said, I don't cover Baron and Candace all that often. I'm not one of these people that's like always playing their stuff and trying to use them for the views and the clicks, and and Baron knows who I am. Like I said, I spoke to Daisy the other day. He's familiar with my content. He knows that I'm not that guy. Like, I don't do that. But tonight, I think that it's justified. And I think that it could be helpful to them.
Because today I want to drill down on the 33-hour lie. And I'm going to say lie pretty confidently. It's still my opinion. It's still allegedly, but it's a confidently educated opinion. 33-hour lie. And why would they do such a lie? What is it about the 33 hours would they put that in there? Well, it's part of the for two. Seth.
Oh, see, that was the part. That's the type of thing that under certain circumstances could be held against him. If he's saying that's part of it, framing him as a patsy, they might try to say that that's some kind of defamation. They might. I'm not saying I agree. I'm just saying.
Third thing I have to say is, Zach.
Oh, that's a different part. Then we go to 102 over here. Where is it?
Arrest date right there. Arrest date, September 11th, 2025. That's the date he was arrested. That's the original arrest of Chyler James Robinson. 10 p.m. 10 p.m. He was arrested by Brian Davis. If you don't know Brian Davis's name, he's the one that did the probable cause statement. We've talked about Brian Davis. The arrest date, 9/11. We've already proven he was arrested on the evening of 9/11, 10 p.m. You go back, you remember if we go back to the motion we were looking at earlier, it said on the evening he was arrested, he was Mirandized, and they gave us that 625. This is the defense team basically saying, Baron, Candace, others, we can't communicate with you directly, but I can put seeds inside this motion that you will find because we know you're smart. We know this is a high IQ outfit. We know you guys have high IQ listeners, high IQ viewers, and they'll help point you to this stuff. And they did. Brian Davis, if he came from Utah County, Daisy just showed you it's a 3+ hour drive. If he shows up at 10 o'clock, that means he left Utah County before 7 o'clock. Probably around 6:30. A 3.5 hour drive. Otherwise, how does he get to Utah County? I mean, how does he get to Washington County?
Yes, guys. So according to Baron Coleman, we cannot call ourselves the high IQ outfit. That is okay. We don't do labels here anyway. We don't do labels here. You know, we are a base team. We are the real base team, and we take pride in our pattern recognition, and we keep it real, and we are the light. Guys, put a 1 in the chat if you know what I'm talking about.
About 10 o'clock. He's arrested at 10 o'clock by the Utah County guy, Brian Davis. If he didn't turn himself in until after 8 o'clock, guess what wouldn't have happened? Guys, he was Mirandized at 6:25. That timeline is perfect. That timeline is perfect. And what that means is Sheriff Bixby lied to your face. He lied to your face. Kash Patel lied to your face, in my opinion.
Now, remember, according to, and, you know, Baron should know this part because he's a lawyer. According to this case, what was it? Milkovich versus Lorraine? Saying, in my opinion, is not a defense. But at the same time, according to another case, a principle that was set, what was the name of the other case? I forgot. Was it United States versus Sullivan or New York Times versus Sullivan? Anyway, we'll get to that. But in another case, it was established that when speaking about public figures, that it's not on the defense to have to defend themselves, but the plaintiff, the person that's doing the accusations for defamation, has to prove that they were malicious. They would have to prove that right now and throughout this investigation that Baron Coleman and Candace Owens were malicious. Now, they might be able to try to pull a rabbit out of their ass with Candace, but I don't think, and who knows, maybe this is why Baron is so damn fucking nice all the time, you know, because he doesn't seem to have a malicious bone in his entire body. How are they going to call this guy malicious? I mean, come on. He literally freaking ends every show saying, and remember, guys, Jesus loves you. He's not like me, dropping F-bombs, calling people assholes, calling people scumbags, trolling them on X, putting out videos of Dan Bongino every other day on Instagram. No, he's the guy going, shame on you. Shame on you. I think you're lying, in my opinion, because of this giant stack of receipts. Yes or no? Yes or no? So good fucking luck trying to prove Baron Coleman was being malicious.
Both of them, in my opinion. They lied to your face, which is why they didn't want that document leaking out. Thank you.
And you know what? If they try to accuse Baron Coleman of being malicious, then they are lying to your face too. And shame on them. See? He's already rubbing off on me. What do you guys think?
You, Steven Crowder, for getting it out. No other explanation for how they picked him up at 10 o'clock. You cannot get from Utah County to there in less than 2 hours. Doesn't work. Timeline doesn't work. Timeline doesn't work. But there's another thing that was critical. Another thing that was absolutely critical to this whole thing. We had to get a confession. We had to get a confession out of this guy. You know, that's a big part of the Fed slop. You know, he confessed. Talked to his friends on Discord and confessed.
Guys, I just want to point out real quick. We got Allie Top Files in the building. Shout out to Allie Top Files. You know, me and Allie are going to be, I believe we're going to be doing a live show together. Is it Monday? Allie, you got to let me know in the chat what day you think is working. But me and Allie, we've been talking. We're going to be doing a show. That's why. That's part of the reason why I'm not going to give you guys everything tonight, because I want to make sure that I got something good when I finally get to work with her. Sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Allie. Oh man! All right, let's keep going. Oh no! What did I do? Oh, never mind. It's still there.
Interesting. When did he confess on Discord? Well, let's find out. Because Newsweek has an article with the screen cap of the Discord confession. You guys have heard about this. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But this is very interesting. And I don't see how this is Tyler Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, this is evidence of Fed slop. Tyler Robinson's Discord messages revealed. It's interesting here because what we have is a date of 8:57 p.m. Now, it's interesting, and I'll show you why it says 8:57 when it's really 7:57. 8:57 because the guy who captured this was in Wisconsin. His name's Klippenstein. Here he is right here. Utah Governor's Office via AP Ken Klippenstein. When Klippenstein captured this Discord chat, he was in Wisconsin, so it was timestamped in Wisconsin. Just like my Twitter feed timestamps to Central Time, even though I'm reviewing things that were drafted on Mountain Time. And so when you see that 8:57, just understand that should be 7:57 local time.
And guys, I'm not going to pull this one up now because we still have a lot to cover. I don't want to get too sidetracked. But if, hold on one second, let me clear my. If you guys are not familiar with the transcript of the messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs, don't you worry, because me and my boy Danks did a reenactment of the entire transcript, the entire conversation, where I don't even remember who was who. I think Danks was Tyler Robinson and I was Lance Twiggs. And we read it Shakespeare style. sorry. We read it Shakespeare style. And it was hilarious. Hilarious. See, that one I should have reposted. That I should have made a video of and reposted on my YouTube channel. I don't think that I did. I think Kelly did. I don't think that I did, though. But yeah, I highly recommend you guys watch that. If you're not familiar with the transcript and you like to learn. It's a very entertaining video.
Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all this. I'm surrendering through a sheriff friend in a few moments. Oh, like 8:02 when Brooksby said you did? Liar, in my opinion. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've all been amazing. Thank you all for everything. What? Bro, you expect me to believe that this guy was Mirandized at 6:25? And then an hour and a half later, he's all happy-go-lucky, fun confessing to his friends on Discord? Huh? Impossible to believe. Absolutely, stunningly impossible to believe.
And I got news for you guys. Right now, the only shot that this administration and Turning Point USA have of getting Tyler Robinson found guilty is with a full confession. It is the only shot. And even then, there is so much evidence. There is so much evidence that there was a conspiracy that there's a very good chance that a confession itself would just be evidence that Tyler Robinson is either A, in on the conspiracy, or clinically insane. If Tyler Robinson gets on the stand and says, yeah, I did it with the 30-06, it was me. I had the chance. I took the shot. That they should throw him in the loony bin. It should be like a mistrial. They should throw him in the loony bin. Because you have to explain the evidence. You have to explain the anomalies. And there is more than enough evidence to believe that there was a cover-up. And if there was a cover-up and Tyler Robinson is a patsy, what makes people think that he's not a complicit patsy? Yes or no? Maybe that's what they've had up their sleeve the whole time that they're not worried about. It's like, yeah, you know what? They can see whatever they want, but at the end of the day, we're going to get him to confess, so it doesn't matter. Closed case. And then we're going to sue Candace Owens for $1 billion and ruin her life. I mean, that's a real possibility. But if that happens, then it has to go into discovery. And the truth is always going to come to light. The truth is always going to come to light.
No human being should buy this level of FedSlop. Period. End of story.
I agree with that one. I think I got another Baron clip I got to bring up. Yo, thank God I wrote these down. It would be taking me even longer.
Now, no. Based on the fact that I'm sure he's a patsy at this point. Based on the fact that I'm sure they're lying about the timeline of when he was turned in. Based on the fact that I'm sure they're lying about the confessions on Discord. Based on the fact after discussing.
And keep in mind, okay, Baron Coleman was a lawyer for a very, very long time in multiple states. I believe Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida, if I'm not mistaken. He wouldn't be making these statements on the record, knowing that he could be potentially setting himself up for defamation, unless he knew what he was talking about and he could back it up. He is not saying this with malicious intent. He's saying it because of his evidence and his 6-7 month now long investigation. And it's been public. It's been public. We have all the transcripts. This is episode 94. Episode 94. And I dare you guys to find an episode where you could point out and make a convincing case that he's been malicious. I dare you. Please. Please.
With other people that I'm sure his family has not said the things they said his family said. I'm confident on that. I'm very confident on that. All these lies add up to only one conclusion for me. He was a patsy. And if he's a patsy, if he was, tangentially involved sort of on the perimeter, they might say, hey, we're doing a meetup out here. Come out here, we'll give you your next marching orders. And by that time, he's a smart guy. He's probably coming in and thinking, I don't like the sound of that. Someone died today and they're going to want to do a cleanup job. I got to clear my name. I got to get out of this situation as quickly as I can. It makes more sense that happened and that the driving around in the desert, getting ready to take yourself out, that was going to be the excuse. Oh, he drove out in the desert and he took himself out when he didn't show up to the meet and instead turned himself in 2.5, 3 hours early. So that's option A or B. Option A is he was not supposed to survive. I tend to favor that. Now he did survive. Let's say he was supposed to survive. Let's say I'm wrong about that. If he was supposed to survive, when was he supposed to turn himself in? Because that would be part of the plan. Obviously, the plan was for him to turn himself in later, after 8 o'clock. They had a press conference scheduled. They were going to release some more photos. That was going to be the linchpin. That was what's going to be identified him. Then they would go pick him up or he would turn himself in. He showed up early and messed the whole thing up. And this is where I have trouble with the neighbor. This is where I have trouble with the retired deputy. I don't know whether he's a good guy or a bad guy.
And again, I have to break it up anyway here and there and give some commentary or else they might pull the stream. But again, he's not being malicious. He's rationalizing, even when he's saying, well, he has to be a patsy. He's not saying this in a way to attack anybody. He's not trying to defame anybody. He's not saying, oh, he's a patsy because, they're assholes or because they're this or because they're that. He's saying based on the evidence that he has, based on the receipts, based on the timeline. The guy even had somebody with a tool measuring the shadows. I should have got that clip. You guys see that? Put a 1 in the chat if you saw that. That they are actually measuring the shadows of the individuals and trying to use that as evidence in their case to say that the individuals were not walking down the street at the times that they claim. That is so next level. That is so next level. I saw that. I almost pissed myself. I couldn't believe it. I never would have thought of that. Not in a million years. So yes, when Baron says that it's a high IQ outfit, I give credit where credit's due. I'm not afraid to call people out when I smell bullshit. And I've done it in the past, and everybody knows that. But when people are on their game, when they're making sense, when they're putting in the work, and when they got the receipts, you have to give credit where credit is due. You just do. You just have to. Or else you're just an asshole. Oh shit. Oh, I did it again. Yeah. Hold on. Let me take it back. I'm going to edit this out when I put this on the premiere next week. If you don't give credit where credit is due, then shame on you. Shame on you. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't think. I think
another decision tree. let's say he's a good guy. He's in the retired deputy community. He hears things. You know how cops talk. And he hears, hey, they think they know who did it, and they think it's one of our own. And he goes, oh my gosh, who? A kid named Tyler Robinson. Oh my gosh, I know him. I better reach out to his folks. We got to get him in. He's in danger if he did it. That's the good guy. And he goes out there and he brings him in a couple hours early before they have a chance to take him out. That's good guy. That's option one. The retired sheriff's deputy finds out through the police chatter that Tyler Robinson is a suspect. He gets in touch with the family and says, hey, your son is a suspect. Get in touch with him. Figure out where he is. We got to get in touch with him because this is not going to end well for him. That makes him a hero. And half the time, I think that. Then there's the other half of me. And the reason the other half of me is so willing to be half the time convinced this guy's a bad guy is because of what he did for a living. What this retired sheriff's deputy did for a living, if the news reports are to be believed, is trap people who were interested in kids. I don't know any other way to say it. People who had that inclination, he would trap them. He would get online. He would purport to be a young boy or girl, and he would trap people. They would show up and arrest them. It was like Chris Hansen, you know, like what he used to do on NBC. In doing so, for the local community, you probably knew all the scumbags. You knew all the people who were being trapped. You knew the names. You knew their identities. Think about George Zinn, for example. Think about George Zinn. George Zinn shows up at the Charlie Kirk event. He's like a 7.
You guys all remember George Zinn, right? The guy at the scene who said that he did it. His pants were falling down. He's an old guy. And then all of a sudden there were the reports going that he was there at 9/11. He wasn't. He wasn't. He was in Denver. He was at the season opener for the Broncos. They were playing against the Giants, and he stayed at a hotel. And in the hotel lobby, he saw on the TV 9/11, and he years later gave an interview about his experience and his recollection of 9/11 being in the lobby. And then somehow that kind of got twisted up where they called him or referred to him as a 9/11 witness.
70-something-year-old man. He is present around a bunch of high school kids for some reason watching Charlie Kirk. Immediately when the bang happens, he stands up, starts waving his hat and saying, I did it, I did it, I did it. His pants fall down. He's got some kind of like gym shorts or something on. So I don't know if he had planned to have his pants fall down. I don't know what that was all about. He wasn't wearing like normal underwear. He was wearing, I mean, it looked like he went to the YMCA afterwards, shoot hoops. But he gets taken into custody, and then they find scandalous images on his phone. The only way I can say it, do you guys know what I'm talking about? They find scandalous images of little people on the phone. Not little people, but, you know, people who haven't grown up yet. Well, if he's involved, and that looks involved to me, and he...
Hold on. I saw something in the chat. Shout out to Marie. I got to reference this real quick. All right. So anyone find out about the picture with Blake Bednarz and George Zinn? Yeah, that was not Blake. That was not Blake. I saw that picture. Now me and Blake, we have a funny relationship. I texted him the other day, like we made peace and everything. I haven't spoken to him since, but to my knowledge, there's no bad blood with me and Blake anymore. Not that there ever was. It was just, you know, like a couple things happened and I talked a little shit like I do. I call it how I see it. What do you want me to do? Whatever. But I man up. I talk to him. I tell him what I said, why I said it. I'm not doing like sneaky shit. You know what I mean? But I heard about the picture and I heard that people were railing him and that he deactivated his accounts again. And I thought he deactivated his accounts because of the picture. I knew the picture wasn't him, but I posted it anyway. Yo, I was straight trolling. I tagged Baron. I tagged Ryan Mata. I'm like, yo, I told you guys this guy was no good. Look, he's at the scene. Yo, he got so pissed. But I only did it because he gets so emotional. You know what I mean? Like he overreacts. He gets so mad. And then he's like going on Spaces. Someone sent me a video today that he's like screaming at people again. You know what I mean? Like people like that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm a fucking troll. What do you want me to tell you? What do you want me to say? I wasn't trying to spread misinformation. Guy wasn't Blake. I knew that. I'm friends with Blake on Facebook. I see the guy never has his hair that long. The guy in that picture had long hair. Blake's hair is always short, and he's in much better shape than that guy. But I thought it was hysterical because it was like going around, and people were like, "Oh my God, you know, is that him? Is that him?" And then I start tagging people. I'm like, "I told you he was a dick. I told you not to trust this guy," and he got so mad. He got so mad. He totally took the bait. He totally took the bait. I'm a dick. Listen, at least I own it. At least I own it. Okay. I like to have some fun from time to time. Give me a break.
Remember, Candace reported he allegedly told someone at the hospital he'd been paid to do that. A guy who might know who he is and know he has that field. Well, the question has been raised over and over again. If Tyler's a patsy, how did he end up involved in this? Well, the same way. Either Lance or Tyler may have also had this predilection, may have also gotten caught up in this at one point. And if you do get caught up in this, you've got an option. You can go to prison for that. It won't go well for you in all likelihood. There's rumors about what happens to people who do that and have that predilection and end up in prison. So you don't want to go that route. So they offer you an out. Well, we could put you in prison for that, or you could do us a favor. I need you to be here at this time, carry this, drive over there. We'll call you and let you know where to go next. I mean, you take your chances, right? If your option is to go to prison for solicitation of little people or looking at.
All right, let's get to the next clip. Yo, a lot of viewers dropped on that. What do we got? That many? We got a lot of Blake Bednar's fans in watching tonight. I came clean. I was trying to come clean. Damn, it was a joke. Why does everyone got to take it so serious? It's fucked up. All right, now let's get serious again. Time to get back to business. Time to get back to business. We're going to talk about one of the other cases. Yes, it was New York Times versus Sullivan. They're going to talk about it right now.
To talk about the First Amendment as it relates to political speech, but I just want to talk for a minute on New York Times versus Sullivan. And in 1993, you wrote a book review and you discussed the Supreme Court's decision in that case, which, as you know, was a critically important decision for libel law. You wrote in that review that, quote, "The obvious dark side of the Sullivan standard is that it allows grievous reputational injury to occur without monetary compensation or any other effective remedy." And you wondered, is uninhibited defamatory comment an unambiguous social good? That is, does it truly enhance public discourse, you asked. And I wondered if you agreed with your past comments on Sullivan and whether or not your last few months going through the media focus with your confirmation hearing has changed your opinion or...
And your hoodie is in the mail. Don't worry.
Strengthened it, and it truly enhanced public discourse, you asked. And I wondered if you agreed with your past comments on Sullivan and whether or not your last few months going through the media focus with your confirmation hearing has changed your opinion or strengthened it in any way. Solicitor General.
Okay, that I should be able to sue them for libel.
Very good. But how about the case itself and with the changing internet and other...
Yo, could you imagine if Blake sued me for that Twitter post where I said that it was him in the picture? Yeah, that would be so funny. Shout out to Blake. Don't sue me, please.
You know, more social media and bloggers. I mean, does that affect anything? And how about your past comments? Do you want to add to those from the book review?
Libel can harm people, that reputational harm is real harm, and that people can suffer great damage from their reputations being inaccurately besmirched through utterly false statements. And I guess the question that I asked was whether there were some contexts where the person had not put themselves into the public sphere in any real way, where the person was, a private actor trying to mind his or her own business and sort of became dragged into the spotlight.
I'm paying attention to the chat. Michelle, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to air out your business, but I mean, you're kind of airing it out yourself. I just want to say I'm sorry. Don't worry. Things are going to get better. And I'm going to give you an email right now. And if you want, you could email me your address and I will send you a hoodie. I have a couple left. They were going to go to some other people, but I'll send you one. Just send me the address so I know where it's going. And don't worry, everything's going to be okay.
And something terrible said about that person in a way that had harmed that person. The law actually does treat that person somewhat differently in libel law, but the question I was asking was whether the balance had been struck appropriately in that sort of case, where the values of the First Amendment in uninhibited political speech are not so much evident, and where the personal harm can be great. And it's been so many years since I read that article. I'm not exactly sure how I came out on that question, but I think it's a real question. And even as we understand the absolute necessity for a kind of New York Times versus Sullivan sort of rule, and for protection of speakers from libel suits, from defamation suits, even as we understand that, we should also appreciate that people who did nothing to ask for trouble, who didn't put themselves into the public sphere, can be greatly harmed by when something goes around the internet and everybody believes something false about a person. That's a real harm, and the legal system should not pretend that it's not.
Yo, if it was up to some of these people, they really would just like get rid of the entire Constitution. It's like insane. It's insane. Now hold on. Let me find. I think I have something that I searched on Google here. Let me pull it up real quick. Oh, it says Melania Trump, but that's definitely not what that is. All right, guys, I'm gonna do a little reading. It's gonna be very quick. Don't worry. I know sometimes I lose viewers when I start reading, but this is not gonna be long. Hold on. Got my air conditioning on. I gotta clean the vents. It's making me cough. All right. So New York Times versus Sullivan in 1964 is a landmark Supreme Court decision that established the actual malice standard. That's the one that we've been talking about, making it significantly harder for public officials to sue for defamation. Now, mind you, this isn't regular civilians like you and me. Well, I mean, I guess I'm kind of becoming a public figure, but for people, public figures, like Erica Kirk. The case, L.B. Sullivan, a Montgomery, Alabama police commissioner, sued the New York Times for an ad that contained minor factual errors about police conduct during civil rights protests. The ruling, a unanimous Supreme Court, ruled that the First Amendment protects even false statements about public officials, provided they weren't made with actual malice. That means that if Baron Coleman has some of the details wrong in his timeline, that they have to prove malice to win a defamation claim. Now, actual malice defined. A plaintiff must prove the publisher knew the statement was false or acted with reckless disregard for whether it was true. Now, let me tell you again. A plaintiff must prove the publisher knew that the statement was false or acted with reckless disregard for whether it was true. Meaning that if they decided that they wanted to sue Baron Coleman for some of his work, or somebody like Ali Top Files or me, for putting out some misinformation, that they have to prove that we either knew that we were wrong or that we were just doing so to be malicious and try to harm people with words. Now, the significance is it shifted the burden of proof from the defendant to prove truth to the plaintiff, to prove falsity and malice, meaning that if the case had gone the other way, then the person that was getting sued for defamation would have to prove that their statements were true. But they're saying, no, in America, We have the Constitution. We have the First Amendment. So you don't have to prove that you were right. You don't have to prove that your words are true. They have to prove that you knew that you were wrong or that you did it to hurt them. And that precedent was set in the 60s. Now, modern status and recent challenges. 2024 to 2026. While the precedent remains the law of the land, it has faced renewed scrutiny in recent years. Judicial criticism. Justices Clarence Thomas and Neil Gorsuch have publicly suggested the court should reconsider the ruling. I believe that's what we were just watching. Arguing it is unmoored from the original constitutional history and poorly suited for the digital age, where misinformation spreads rapidly. Now, you know what I have to say about that? You know what I have to say about that? If you want to talk about interpretations of the Constitution and what the Founding Fathers meant, why don't we talk about the Fourth Amendment, right to privacy, no warrantless search and seizure? Why don't we think about how they would have interpreted that and written that today with what we know about AI and social media and geofencing and all the information that they steal from us, all these cookies, all this bullshit. How the CIA can, like, right now literally be turning my TV into a microphone and hack into it and listen to what I'm saying. How if you have your phone, if you're watching your phone and you're taking a shit in the bathroom, that they can literally see you. They can hack into your phone and, like, look at you. Hey, how you doing? While your camera's pointing at you while you're taking a shit. You know, in the Edward Snowden movie, they showed him taping his computer while he's about to get it on with his girl because the CIA can, like, why don't we reinterpret that? Like, why don't we give power back to the people? They're trying to have bullshit misinterpretations to take away our freedom of speech. Think about it. You already took our clean water. You already took our clean food. You took our health. You forced all these fucking vaccines that are giving us all myocarditis and like cancer rates are going through the roof. You took our land. The 2008 financial crisis, 10 million people lost their homes. Fucking scumbag Obama went and sold everything wholesale to Blackstone. You know, like look at everything they took. After 9/11, what was it? $8 trillion got spent in Afghanistan and Iraq. And what did we get? What did we get in response? What did we get in response? A fucking opioid crisis? Are you kidding me? Now, like, one of the last things that we have left is our freedom of speech. And they want to take that too. They want it all. They want it all. They want to make us slaves. They want our fucking flesh. They want our blood. They want our children. If it was up to them, we'd all have some RFID chips. And now, fucking scumbag Bill Gates, another one who's on the Epstein list, in the files. Now he's saying that we should all be vaxxed. We should all have digital IDs. That if we don't conform, that we should not be a part of society. Like, do you understand what's happening? Like, do you understand what they're doing? And what is the common denominator? Who is going after the freedom of speech the most? Who is behind a lot of it? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And the crazy part is, I don't even have to say any more than that. And I already know what comes to your mind. What region comes to your mind? Like, we all know. We all know. At this point, it's common sense. It doesn't even have to be said. Doesn't even have to be said. We all know. Our government is occupied. The world is not what we thought it was. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. The only thing that is not bullshit is that they're not going to stop until they take everything, until there's nothing left. Until there's nothing left. You look at what's going on with this war in Iran. Like, they don't care. Like, we have the oil. We don't need their oil. The Strait of Hormuz, that's to put pressure on everybody else. All that's going to do is raise the prices. So all these scumbags, they own the oils. They own the oil refineries. It's been the Rockefellers since the fucking 1800s. We're just going to have to spend more. We're going to have to travel less. That's what they want. You see all these videos about 15-minute cities and how they want to, you know, like they want to have more AI. They want to have more AI, more Oculus bullshit, so that poor people can get to go to the same places that rich people go, and they don't even have to leave their homes. I wish I had that clip pulled up, because that's actually a real thing that was said. So, real thing that was said is that the rich people are going to still be able to travel, and the poor people are still going to be able to travel too. They're just going to have to do it in their own homes with an Oculus. You know, and is it a coincidence that a couple years ago that they were saying that, oh, well, you know, like we need people to stop eating meat, but they don't want to eat meat. They love meat. I love meat. But, you know, we're finding out that there are these ticks that they bite you, and then the protein changes, and then you're allergic to meat. And then what's happening? All of a sudden, you get all these people with these food allergies, these more ticks than ever. Like, where are all these fucking ticks coming from? And people getting bit and they're allergic to meat. And they're like, oh, well, you know, we said that, but we didn't do it. Wink, wink. And then what do you know? There's a new vaccine for Lyme disease. You know, straight out of Plum Island. You know, like the world is so fucked. It's so fucked. But that's why I say we are the light. All we can do is make ourselves aware, share the knowledge. If people want to stick their heads in the sand, and this is the issue that I've had. This is why I got so upset, you know, with just like got mad at the world, because when the files came out, I felt like everybody needed to know that anybody with a platform, Candace, Baron, this one, that one, like everybody stop what you're doing and let's talk about this. But it's like everybody's got their own lives. Everyone's got their own families. Everyone's got their own perspectives. Everyone's got their own priorities. You know, and I'm only I only single them out because I'm covering their content today. God bless both of them. You know, I was wrong in that situation because I should have been like, I have a content. I have my own channel. I could have, who knows, maybe I could have went viral covering it. But no, what did I do? I got on the camera and I talked shit and I pushed a bunch of people away from me and I fucking acted like a bitch about it. And at least I'm man enough to own that. At least I'm man enough to own that. And I try to make things right. But I got really affected from the files and from the war in Iran. Like that shit really, really, really bothered me. It really bothered me. And this bothers me too. The fact that fucking Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci is still walking free bothers me. It just does. The fact that Larry Ellison is being allowed to buy up all of our media and that he's got this cloud. Like, I don't even know if I could use ChatGPT because, or like he has a $300 billion contract with the cloud, whatever it is. I think it was million, not billion. You know, him and his son, they bought Paramount. Then Netflix wanted to buy Warner Brothers. Oh, no, you got to give that to the Ellisons too. You know, they kept talking about China, getting our data. No, can't let that happen. Got to make TikTok sell. And they sold to fucking Larry Ellison so we can give it all to Israel. Like, let's be real. Let's be real. You know, like, fuck. And this is exactly the type, like, this is the type of fucking live stream. This is the type of rant that people need to hear. Like, this is the type of information that people need to know about because it affects everything about their everyday lives. And this is the exact type of rant that's going to get my channel shut down. You know, going to get me sued. You know, like, for real. But you know what? Bill Gates, Larry Ellison, all these other cocksuckers, suck my dick. Take me to court. Take me to discovery, and you prove to me, you prove to the courts, you prove to the world that I'm saying what I'm saying because of malicious intent. Malicious intent. Fuck out of here. You know, fucking malicious intent was. You know what? I'm not even gonna. You know, I wonder what Melinda Gates thinks about malicious intent. You know, I wonder when she read. I wonder if she felt any malicious intent. Fuck out of here. All right, let's keep going. Did I go too far? Chat. Did I go too far? Is that the one? Am I going to have to start kissing up to Dan Bongino to go to Rumble? They're going to have me fucking stranded with Nick Fuentes? Fuck my life. All right, let's go. It's going to get better. Listen, I promised you guys in the beginning. I promised you guys in the beginning of the night when we started with that first Candace video that was just the bread on the table and that there was going to be appetizers and that there was going to be drinks and that there would be a full course meal. Did I not? I think I'm delivering. I do. I think that I'm delivering. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't think too highly of myself. That's for you guys to decide. All right, hold on. Ooh, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I kind of lost where I was. Oh, this is a good one. Let's watch this. All right. I talked enough shit. I don't want to get in any more trouble.
All right, you guys. Happy Monday.
Now, oh, did I skip ahead? Actually, you know what? We're right where we need to be. You know how we were talking? You know how we were talking before about malicious intent? About malicious intent? Why don't we go back a little further? As Brian Harpole likes to call the Wayback Machine. Let's go to the Wayback Machine, but we're not going to go to 1985. Shout out to Kelly Raybon. She knows, she gets that reference. But let's just go back a couple of months. Let's hear what Candace Owens, we know what Candace Owens has been saying about Erica Kirk recently, but let's see what she was saying about Erica Kirk before all the receipts came, before all this evidence started piling up. Let's see what she was saying from the beginning. And let's see how malicious Candace Owens sounded when she was talking about Erica Kirk back when Charlie first left us.
All right, you guys, happy Monday. Erica Kirk, man, she really is just the moment. The speech that she gave, everybody was just wowed by her. I felt my energy personally, like last night going into that, I was effectively like soaring in the air above the convention center, like a dragon above, waiting for Erica to just be like, fire. And I was just going to come down and swoop in out of nowhere.
If you don't get that, that's a Game of Thrones reference. She's literally calling Erica Kirk Daenerys. Before the last season, when she went evil and fucking scorched her. Maybe if she made that reference now, she'd be talking about final season Game of Thrones. But I'm pretty sure in this reference that she was talking about like when she was still a fan favorite. Just saying.
All the politicians, all the fake people, everyone was just going to be in that moment toast. But she didn't call for war. Erica did not call for war. In fact, she did the exact opposite, which is what was so stunning. It was unbelievable. The forgiveness that she granted, the strength that it took for her to call for that forgiveness, it's just unmatched, and it really made a difference. And I was being serious when I tweeted that I think it was the most consequential speech in American history, a message that everyone needed to hear, including myself, a message of
listen to her. She's talking about Erica Kirk. She's not being sarcastic right now. Do I need to play it back? RIP in Discord? Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. All right, whatever. Hold on. I'm going to play it back for a second. Listen to what she's saying about Erica Kirk.
The strength that it took for her to call for that forgiveness, it's just unmatched, and it really made a difference. And I was being serious when I tweeted that I think it was the most consequential speech in American history, a message that everyone needed to hear, including myself, a message of complete submission to Christ. And by the way, later on, we're also going to discuss another kind of submission to Christ, which is submitting yourself to truth. Kash Patel has now come out and issued a statement fully capitulating to the public insistence that they're lying to us. They are so clearly lying to us about what happened on the day that Charlie Kirk lost his life. Nothing they've told us thus far makes any sense, and somehow it's only getting worse. So welcome back. Let's jump right into this.
But you see the way that she was talking about her? And some of you might be saying, oh, is she acting? Is she being sarcastic? No, at that point in time, she seemed to have been genuinely sticking up for Erica. I mean, that's how it appears to me. If anyone has any theories on why they would think otherwise, I'd be happy to hear it. Let's see. What's the next one? Oh, did I not write the timestamps? That would actually suck. Guys, I'm going to read all of these supers. Don't worry. I just want to get through this first. We're almost done. Bear with me. I know we're 2 hours in. I really appreciate you guys. But it was important for me that if I was going to do this Friday night episode, that it was going to be a good one.
Tyler Robinson. That feels a little bit to me like moral blackmail. Hey, man, we're not hiding anything, but we've got this guy, Tyler Robinson. If you don't close this case, then it might harm our chances of locking this guy up. Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure that they are being just moral. I'm sure they're telling the truth to the authorities. Now, I want to remind you guys, we should take a look at their current case against Tyler Robinson to see if we should accept this narrative, because currently there is absolutely no video which shows Tyler Robinson firing the weapon or even taking aim at Charlie Kirk. In fact, the individual who filmed the footage of the shooter on the roof, the lone video that exists of the shooter on the roof, also told me that he doesn't think that Tyler Robinson is the guy. So how's that going to work for an eyewitness account?
Now, remember, keep in mind, okay, this was 6 months ago. This was still in September. Like, these are the types of videos that she was making, that like the Ben Shapiro's, the Steven Crowders, the Tim Pools, that they were all saying that she was dividing the right, that she was a conspiracy theorist, that they were calling her a see you next Tuesday, that she was harming. And she ended up being right about so many things. Keep listening.
When he reported the shooter on the roof to Utah on the campus, he was clear that the person was wearing an entirely different outfit than the ones that they're currently trying to claim that Tyler wore on that day. Remember, Tyler was just supposed to be wearing a t-shirt.
And as we know now, damn, I should have had that clip up, that Baron Coleman revealed the 911 tapes, where in the 911 tapes, they're describing a man that's long hair, all black, vest, tactical mask. That is exactly what Candace Owens was referring to on September 24th. But this was malicious intent. And this is back when she's still sticking up for Erica. She's still sticking up for Erica. She's making references, comparing her to heroes and saying that, that was one of the best speeches I ever heard in my life. Everyone needed to hear it, even me. And she's bringing the receipt, like she's not like here, she's not bringing the receipts, but she's planting the seeds. She's giving the theories that she's going to have the receipts for later. This whole case where they're all trying to say that it's all slander and that she's just making shit up and everything's a lie. It's all bullshit. She was right. She was right.
And some jeans. He says no, he was in tactical gear. The person that I saw was in tactical gear. Also, that eyewitness told me that gun doesn't even match what I saw. And like I said, this individual definitively has experience with guns. He teaches people how to fire guns. So according to him and what he observed, if he's going to be brought into this court case.
I also want to point out that this individual that she's referring to, that was the witness that said they saw all this, was never called by Tyler Robinson's defense to be a witness. Well, I don't know about never. I don't know if it's happened since. But when I know it was brought up, I believe Baron said it a couple months back, that at that point in time, I'll find the clip. I'm not going to find it right now. But you guys can hold me to that. I'll bring that receipt. Don't worry.
They're saying they want to, they want to bring charges against Tyler. He's going to testify and say, no, that doesn't look like the gun. That doesn't look like the person. So how's this going to work? Also, according to the individual that told me this regarding the feds trying to push for this case closure, the feds don't even have any footage that explains how exactly the rifle in particular got onto the roof. That stuns me. That's stunning information. Right? Because all we have is, in the indictment, he dropped onto the roof at 12:15 p.m. Tyler Robinson just dropped onto the roof. I guess in our minds, we assumed on the basis of the picture that they released the sole picture.
And now remember they were trying to say that he had it in his pants? But then you could see that there's multiple images that shows him walking up those stairs with his knees bent. If he had the rifle in his pants, how was he bending his knees? How was he even getting the rifle in those tight jeans and that it wouldn't be bulging out? Like, how would he get it in there at all? And then you can't see it and his knees are bent? He didn't have a rifle in his pants. And that's not the person that was described in the 911 calls, or that the one eyewitness that said they saw the guy. He doesn't match that description. But yet, somehow, some way, that's their guy. And they were so sure the entire time. And now they're going to sue Candace Owens for defamation? It makes no sense.
Or set of pictures from the same moment of him walking up the stairs. We assumed that he, like I said, stanky legged it, the whole stanky leg all the way up onto the rooftop. That was our perception. But it turns out, according to my source, they don't know how the rifle got onto the roof. That's interesting. How are we bringing this to trial? Now, regarding the bullets, the source says that it was too fragmented to match Tyler's rifle. So they don't have even the bullet. And let us not forget that Tyler himself has not confessed to anything. And that part also didn't make sense. He said they brought him in. Bill Ackman puts up $1 million. Tyler's dad gets the sheriff friend to come over, and they say he did it. And the police come and they bring him in. They bring Tyler Robinson in, but Tyler Robinson doesn't confess. So how did you arrest him? Does that make sense? How could you make an arrest if you didn't have a confession? You would have to have evidence, and the evidence can't be trust my dad, bro. You can't, if I just bring in a random person, if I say, oh, look, Skylar just committed this crime, and Skylar says, no, I didn't, and he doesn't confess, the police can't just make an arrest.
She's right. She's right. And she was right about a lot of things. She was right about a lot of things. You know, and in hindsight, I should have given her the benefit of the doubt after she had that meeting with Erica. You know, I got, once again, just like when the files came out, I had gotten angry because I wasn't seeing what I wanted to happen when I wanted it to happen. Now let's see this one. I think this is one of the last ones that I have. And then we're going to get into supers.
I do also want to address people who are inundating me speaking about Erica Kirk. And I think the reason why this was catalyzed was because of a fundraising email and text messages went out, and people found it to be distasteful and like fundraising off of his death. Okay, first and foremost, the reason why I said, and I meant it genuinely, was to pray for Erica a couple of days ago. And I said she is stepping into a role as CEO and the chairman of a company that got bigger than—
Wait, what's that? What's that, Candace? What do you want us to do? Hold on, that can't be right.
People found it to be distasteful and like fundraising off of his death. Okay, first and foremost, the reason why I said, and I meant it genuinely, was to pray for Erica a couple of days ago. And I said she is stepping into a role as CEO and the chairman of a company that got bigger than Charlie, by everything that I am understanding, and just having been there, I saw it happening, and a company that she's going to have to learn in 4 seconds how this whole thing's work. It is a machine, okay? Those emails that you saw that was not written by Erica Kirk. That will be an entire department, and these are emails when you fundraise. I've had fundraising emails.
She's sticking up for Erica right now. She's giving her the benefit of the doubt in a really, really big way. She doesn't sound to me like she's being malicious. All this that we've seen, everything that's happened, we got to where we are because of the evidence and because of the lies. And not lies told by Candace Owens, not lies told by Baron Coleman, Ian Carroll, Valhalla VFT, Ryan Mata. The lies came from Erica Kirk, from Kash Patel, from Dan Bongino, from the people on the scene, from Rob McCoy, and I'm sure plenty of other people. And the rest of them that weren't lying were just spreading misinformation, whether knowingly or unknowingly. But Candace was right. Candace was right. And for that, now, there is one more video I want to play for you guys that is off topic, but that I think that it's very important. And then I will get into supers, and then we will hang out for a little bit before I wrap it up. But I want to start doing this from now on. I want to start making sure that I play videos that I find to be important, whether they're on topic or not. I still don't know how to pronounce this guy's name, but he's amazing. You got to follow him. I call him Eric M. Eric, what is that? Mautsos? Yo, somebody, one of my mods, one of my regulars, you guys got to help me with this. But this guy is the best. And now this video.
You're getting close to that breach of peace. It's fight against everybody else. You can't have it. And this is a public forum. You can't have that.
It's not hurtful. Flock is working in partnership with Palantir. Palantir is funded by Peter Thiel. He is one of the richest men alive. Palantir is named after the evil all-seeing eye in Lord of the Rings. And that is an accurate name because Palantir has been used to track and surveil and murder people overseas. That same technology is being used with flock safety to funnel all of our data into a system that knows everything about you. Everything about you. And what is that for them? They say that the data is secure here, but they do not own the data. No. And never once have we had technology where our data has been protected. Nope. Never once. Nope. And what are they getting out of this? What are we getting out of this? This is not something we just let happen. No. And that is what they're trying to do today. If this is who represents us, vote them out. Vote them out.
I don't know. I felt like that was an important video to share. And that is tonight's show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do me a favor if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, bell notification, all that good stuff. And I'm going to get to some of the supers. And let's see what we got. I'll start